Hey, it's Marilyn. I am a Melco certified trainer, and today I'm going to talk to you about monogramming on a Santa hat. The reason that I chose this is because a lot of people ask me about sewing on something with such a high pile and how to cover it. And it's so easy. I'm going to show you how to adjust your stitches so that you get great coverage on something that has a high pile. Design Shop is amazing. It has auto underlay, and you really don't have to fool with it 90% of the time. So I love that feature. I love that you don't even have to think about what underlay stitches you need. Underlay stitches are the stitches that lay underneath the top stitch. They're kind of like a foundation for whatever it is you're doing, and Design Shop automatically adds it for you. But there's going to be about 10% of the time where your item is going to be, super tall, or just different situations that you may need to adjust it yourself. So I'm going to show you what I did to adjust my stitches in Design Shop. Now, if you have Design Shop Professional and you have the knockdown stitch feature, I've done 2 videos on that. If you have that feature, I highly recommend it for something like this. But in case you don't have Design Shop Professional, it's okay. You can absolutely adjust your stitches, your underlay stitches, to get great coverage on something like this. So I'll show you what I did in Design Shop. So you can see what I did here in Design Shop was I adjusted my underlay stitches. And you can also see that I took the pull percentage and I increased it to 180. So I went from 100 to 180 because I want the letters to be very bold to make sure that I have great coverage. All right, so take your cap in its finished state. You always want to measure things when they're in their finished state. So this is how they would have the hat on their head. So measure from here to here, divide by 2. Measure from here to here, divide by 2, and find your center. And I just used some blue painter's tape, and and I just stuck a little piece right there. So that's going to be the center of my design. Now, what you want to do now is you want to flip the hat inside out. So I'm going to flip it up like this, and then pull this out, and then that's how I'm going to hoop it like this. Now, magnetic hoops would be great for this, but if you don't have magnetic hoops, it's fine. I'm going to use my 18 centimeter or my 7-inch hoop is what I use to hoop it. I have aqua topping on the top, and I do catch the aqua topping in the hoop. There's no sense in you trying to pin it down and tape it down. Just hoop it with the garment. It makes it so much easier. I have cutaway on the back. And I have my backing all the way around. You always want to have your backing all the way around, all the time. You want to be able to play a drum on it, and you'll see I have my aqua topping on the top. Sometimes when you hoop things, they don't fill the hoop, like in this situation, because I want the longest part of where I'm sewing to be in the largest part of the hoop. So if your item doesn't 100% fit in the hoop, pin it down. So you'll see what I did was I pinned it down right here, because when it's sewing, it wants to kind of grab the fabric and move it. So that avoids any movement when I go to sew it. And then I'm ready to put it on the machine. Okay, and there you have it. So it took about 4 minutes to run. It's about 4,000 stitches. So if you think it took you maybe a minute to hoop it and 4 minutes to run it, that means you ran it in 5 minutes. And if you're charging $15 for your monograms, which is kind of the average cost right now, and it is October of 2024, and the average rate is somewhere between $12 and $15. So if you're charging $15 for your monogram, then you can do 12 hats in an hour, and in that hour you can make $180. So that's pretty Great. Now, remember, if you sold the customer the hat too, let's just say you bought the Santa hat for $3, then you want to double the price of the Santa hat to $6, and then maybe add an extra $1 for shipping and credit card charges. And so the hat would be $7 by itself, and then the monogram is $15. You never want to include the two together, because then the customer loses sight of the monogramming value by itself. So you always want the monogramming to have a value on its own, aside from the item itself. Okay, so I'm going to take my pin out because I had it pinned down to the backing, and then I'm going to cut my backing off. When you cut your backing off, always be able to see your item. So I'm cutting like this. I can always see the item as I'm cutting. That way I'll never cut an item. So cut all my backing off. Now to get your solvay off, to get the water soluble off, what you're going to do is you're going to rip it off like this, but keep this piece flat like this. Don't ball it up, keep it flat. Then you're going to spritz it. Take your solvay, lay it flat. Take your water soluble, lay it flat like this, and then rip it up. And that way it rips up all the extra solvay. And I see I have a little thread here that I need to trim. Just a little thread that's just kind of got in the way. But you'll see that by using the stitches that I did, I have a great coverage. It came out great. You can really see his name. Came out great. Logan's ready for Christmas.